Sir.
Foreign service is your second choice.
Yes, sir.
What is diplomatic immunity?
So diplomatic immunity is given to is a concept in which foreign diplomats, foreign embassies, they have an immunity in a sense that they're not treated under the same laws as the host country. So a diplomat is immune to a lot of the laws which are applicable on these things. In fact, the United States of America argued for Raymond Davis under this pretext of diplomatic immunity. They felt that in fact, he was not a diplomat, but they argued the case on those basis that he should be given diplomatic immunity.
But was he tried there in America on the charges on the?
I do not think he was charged in America. I'm not sure.
But he's supposed to. He is not. You see, action will be taken against him, not in the host country, but in the country of his origin, where he can be taken to task legally, administratively.
Sir, so from what I got from Steve Cole's book, he wrote The Directorate S and how the CIA and ISI fight wars in Afghanistan. In that book, he mentioned that the American government on behalf of Raymond Davis paid blood money to the victims here. And I feel that if that blood money was paid, Pakistan did not agree that he has diplomatic immunity because in effect he was not a diplomat. He was not in the list of diplomats the American had given to the foreign ministry. And so compensation, blood money was paid according to Pakistani law, and then he was allowed to leave. So I feel that means that he cannot be tried in the United States of America because he has been punished here.
Right.
Fizan, you have opted for foreign service as your second option. What do you think are the major challenges of Pakistan's foreign policy?
Ma'am, the first challenge I feel, which is primary, is that decade in, decade out, we change our direction. One decade we are going in one direction and another decade we go in another direction. There is no consistency in direction. I feel whichever direction we take, if we stick to it, we will do good. But every government coming in and changing directions, I feel that is a foreign policy issue in Pakistan. Similarly, that is the first one. The second one I feel that is more operational is how do we balance our ties in the Middle East, because Middle East is important for us. Iran is a neighbor, Saudi Arabia is a friendly country. How do we balance between them? And the third issue, which I feel will be of immense importance in the future, is now that we have bet on the Chinese investment due to CPEC, and we see that a sort of a collision is inevitable between the United States of America and the Chinese because China is a rising power. How will we balance between that? I feel that these three are the primary challenges.
Would you kindly elaborate what you mean by saying that we keep on changing direction? Can you elucidate with the example?
Right. One government is very friendly with the Saudis. Then there comes another government which is excessively friendly towards the opposite bloc in the Middle East, which is the Turkish and the Iranians. So that is a contradiction. And I understand that a government should have the right to formulate its foreign relations, but there should be some strategic consistency which should be there. Similarly, sometimes we are very friendly with the United States of America, and I understand that is a transactional relationship. I understand that. But then sometimes we are excessively friendly to the Chinese. We do not maintain a balance. We do not maintain a consistency in who we want to be friends with and who we do not want to be so good of friends with.
So from this emanate two questions. Firstly, is there any distinction between rhetoric and policy?
Definitely, ma'am. Definitely. There is a difference between rhetoric and policy. But a lot of times we let rhetoric take precedence over what should be strategically beneficial. In fact, when you ask me of this, I think there were times when the Pakistani president was slapping around, in a fun gesture, the US president. And then very soon after that, within a decade, we were organizing this Islamic meeting in Pakistan. So this is not this is extremes. So even if we want to go to an extreme, we should stick to that extreme, I feel.
And the second question because as I said, two questions emanate. One question I've already asked. The second question is, do you think that international system is static?
No, it's constantly changing.
So?
But having said that, ma'am, why should we be reactive to the to the changing world model? We should be proactive. We should align ourselves. And in fact, once we align ourselves, we should be the ones changing the static nature, not the ones reacting to the changes happening around.
Interesting. Now, tell me, you have done environmental studies. What are the major environmental issues for Pakistan?
Ma'am, the first and foremost, Pakistan is the fifth most prone country to environmental damage, despite the fact that we do not contribute that much to environmental degradation globally. That is the first thing, that we are one of the most prone. I think the second thing is how rising sea levels will affect Pakistani cities, urban cities, Karachi, Hyderabad. These cities they do not have the infrastructure or the ability to be able to sustain a rising sea level if it continues to rise at the rate at which it is rising. That is the other reason. And third, I feel, which I personally felt, change in 4 years of my time in Lahore. When I went to Lahore, there was no concept of smog at that time, but by the time I was graduating from my university in 4 years, the smog was such that it was difficult to breathe in. And I haven't been to Lahore in a recent time, but I've heard that it's got even worse. Lahore is one of the most the worst in terms of breathing air. So that is the third reason. But it is also an urban city. The fourth, I think, would be unplanned urbanization in Pakistan. This is something which is related to environment, and we must address this issue as well. With the rising middle class, urbanization is going to take place, but we must make sure that we plan it properly.
In COP24, they spoke of blue economies. Do you have any idea about that?
Ma'am, I'm unsure of it. If you'd allow me to guess, it is related to making seas sustainable. It is related to something related to the activities which take place within the oceans and the seas, but I'm not very sure of this.
Thank you very much, Fizan.
Arslan, what were the three main features of Minto-Morley reform 1909?
Sir, I have read this, but I cannot recall it at this point.
What is a Masori compromise?
Sir, this was a compromise in which it was stated that beyond there was 4360 was the line. I think, I do not remember exactly, but beyond which slavery is not going to be extended. And then Missouri was to be admitted to the United States of America as a slave state, and Maine was to be admitted into the United States of America as a free state. So this was basically a compromise between anti-slavery and pro-slavery people in the United States of America.
And what was 3rd June plan?
So the 3rd June plan, I'm unsure of it. I do not.
My last question is, what was the impact of American War of Independence and French Revolution?
Sir, I think American Revolution in some ways inspired the French Revolution.
How?
So because the Americans here had overthrown a colonial power, which was the United Kingdom, and it inspired the French people also to rise up against monarchy. And Americans had not just fought the colonial power, they have fought for democracy, they had fought for self-rule. And so the people in France, I feel, were also inspired by this fact that we should have a self-rule.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Faizan, the only thing I can tell you that you keep it up. Mashallah, you are intelligent, you are articulate, your communication skills are very good. You are quite confident. But now, keep it up.
Thank you, sir.
Because you are competing with the best of the best. Punjab is very tough competition. Punjab mein jo hai na, there are people like you, not many people like you. So you have to keep in view that you will maintain objectivity, be analytical, and what you are thinking, express it if you get an opportunity. ठीक है ना? So from today, I think you are very good. लेकिन आप इसको मेंटेन करो. कब है इंटरव्यू तो?
Sir, 20th.
चलो, you have got 10 days. ना भी लिटरेचर रिव्यू कर सकते हो ना, आज कर लो. ये 10 दिन फिर नहीं आने. ठीक है? तो you are very good. आप बता.
जो है ना सेक्शन 6 देख लेना जाके. ठीक है, उसको देख लेना जाके. और दूसरा ये जब जाएंगे इंटरव्यू के लिए आप तो सॉक्स आपकी वो होनी चाहिए, ब्लैक होनी चाहिए या ब्लू नॉर्मली, इसके साथ ब्लैक होनी चाहिए. ये जो है सॉक्स मेरा अवॉइड करेंगे तो अच्छा होगा. बाकी ठीक है.
सर एक क्वेश्चन मैं आपसे, आपने सेक्शन 6, मेरा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल जो है ना, मैं वीक हूँ, मैंने मेरी क्योंकि लॉ
कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन से वो सेक्शन 6 इसलिए इम्पोर्टेंट है कि उसमें फर्दर मिलिट्री इंटरवेंशन की या एक्स्ट्रा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल इंटरवेंशन की रोड को ब्लॉक कर दिया गया है. ठीक है, पहले तो होता था ये हो जाता था, कोई आ गया और फिर वो अदालत में चले गए, अदालत उसको वैलिडेट कर देती थी. नाउ इवन द कोर्ट कांट डू इट. अगर कोर्ट ये करेगी तो दैट विल आल्सो अमाउंट टू ट्रीजन. तो इस तरह से दैट वे इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट.
Fizan, you are very capable, mashallah, but there is a knowledge gap. Fill it up, beta, because you have very little time. I didn't ask you the question. I wanted to, for a teaser, that do you know the difference? I mean, why are diplomats given diplomatic immunity?
I'm unsure of it, ma'am.
Basically because they are representatives of the sovereign.
Yes.
And a sovereign cannot be subject to the laws of another sovereign state. Yes. And that's why they are immune.
Right.
So it's not कि वो कोई खास उस तरह से है, बल्कि it is mandatory upon them. Because if I, for example, am posted to USA and I succumb to those laws, then I'm not representing the sovereign state of Pakistan with this flag. Then I'm subject of that state. And I'm not, so I would not. Okay, so that's why diplomatic immunities and privileges, और ये Vienna Convention हुई थी 1961 में. Do remember that, ठीक है? 1961 diplomatic immunities पे थी Vienna Convention, और फिर दोबारा Vienna Convention हुई थी 1964 में, which was on consular immunities. And consular immunities are different from diplomatic immunities. And the reason is that a diplomat is a representative of the sovereign, but the consular is supposed to give services. He is not representative of the sovereign. He is part of the team that gives services. Therefore, they do not enjoy the same immunities as a diplomat would. In Pakistan, we have the same foreign service in which you can be posted as Consul General, you can be posted as Ambassador. So as Ambassador, your immunities will be different. As Consul General, it will be different. In other countries, the Consular Corps is very different from the Diplomatic Corps. They have two streams of services. So just to educate you on that for your interview. Okay?
Thank you.